everyone, this is Kimori, and yes, I took a break from cleaning to talk to you guys, and since I want to talk to you guys about my reviews. Now, I love doing reviews, and I wanted to explain it so that for later videos, and since PopCon's coming up, I wanted people to be able to understand my ranking scale, and because this has kind of came up in some things. Now, I was stupid and read some stuff, and was like, no. So anyways, let's not go into that. But so I want to explain to you my con ranking. First of all, it's a 5-star system, 5 stars, and we're gonna start at the bottom. And the thing is all of the cons I've been to have never been 2 stars or lower. They've never really been 3 stars or lower. They've always been above that. Except maybe Ash. One of the times I was going and they were remodeling. Yeah. But anyways, so I'm Komori. I'm a YouTuber. I'm a cosplayer. I've done some vending. And I love it. The last convention that I went to was the Midwest Toy and Comic Convention. It was a fun convention. I vended it. I had a lot of fun. It wasn't the most splendiferous convention, which is 5. So let me start at 3. 1 is absolutely horrible, but it was a convention. So it gets points for just being a convention. If something could be in the points if something really bad happened, say there was a terrorist attack or a gunman or something really, really horrible happened, it would have to be below 1 star. 1-star conventions are usually not very thought of. Some might. I didn't go to DashCon, but that would kind of be the level of, I'm guessing. I don't know. I didn't go, but I'm trying to figure out what would be 1 star. 1 star would be creepy hotel in unsafe neighborhood, 2-3 vendors, not planned, not the first year, creepy, no food, very bad parking. It'd be something really, really, really bad. 2 stars would be something that was thought through. It wasn't absolutely the most horrible thing in the world, but it didn't have enough dynamics for a convention. 3 is good, fun, starting out small con, maybe doesn't have all the panels, maybe some of the vendors didn't come back from the year before. A lot of fun, but it's not splendiferous. So that's the thing I'm getting people oh, we give it 3 or 3.5. 3.5 is really good. 4 is really damn good. They have a lot of the things that I have in my ranking scale, which I'll explain. 5 stars is the most wonderful, splendiferous con, or a really amazing con, you have to go to this convention. So, let me explain. 1, I do not do unless it's a very iffy thing. I don't do 0.8 or 0.9 or 0.7. It's usually just 0.5, because once you start getting into point numbers, it gets really, really, really complicated. Second of all, I've been to many conventions. I don't go to as many outside of state because I don't have a car right now, and so, but I have been to 2 Gen Cons, so that's 2. 2 Comic Cons. Ash, I've been to a few Ash comic shows, so just count that as 1. I've been to 2 PokeCons through IUPUI, which those were small cons, and they were amazingly wonderful. I mean, I wouldn't give them a 5, but I would definitely give them a 4 or a 3.5. I mean, that's the thing. A 3.5 for me is pretty good. 5 is really hard to reach. It's I went to this con, and it blew my mind, and it had everything that, the basic dynamics of a convention. Yeah, so, I've been to PopCon, and I'm hoping I'm going again this year. I've been to EvaCon once. I've been to 3 Anime Crossroads, and I have been to, yeah. So I've been to over 10 cons. I think it's somewhere around 14 or something, but that's not the point. So I have a good experience, and I have a knowledge a bit about how to run an event. And my ranking system is based on a lot of things. First thing that I want to mention is vendors. Vendors, since I love to shop. Vendor variety, the niceness of the vendors, which the vendors, because I'm kind of using Toy and Comic as a comparison, and Comic-Con because of the most recent thing, so the people have probably been to them. The vendors were really nice. There just wasn't like a Toy Comic. When I'm talking about vendor selection, a good selection of things. Like, the problem that Gen Con, it doesn't necessarily strike a 5 with me is because the vendor selection, well, and parking. Parking is also a thing. The vendor selection is mostly just desktop, dice, comics, and a few other things. There was some good selection at Toy and Comic, like, there were comic books, there was manga, but those manga is kind of like at every convention, which is good. If you want to buy manga, that's good. But, like, there are vendors I really wanted to see that weren't there. Like, the earring guy, he was not there, which he might have had another convention at the time. But, in Plush in the USA, love you guys, I worked that, and there were just a lot of high-priced action figures or action figure people. Like, I saw some really cute Sailor Moon slippers, which I would have bought, but they were $50. And I'm like, I know they're vintage, but I want to actually wear them. I don't want to put them in a box on my shelf. And that was one reason with the vendors. Artist Alley was great. I just wish there were more things other than big prints. There were buttons and pins, which I love, which I have. But, like, that's another thing. Vendors are completely different than Artist Alley in my rating schedule. Vendors, variety is 1. Pricing is 2. Organization or layout of the vendor's room. Artist Alley, selection, skills, ideas, that all goes into that. Then, there's panels. Now, I've been to a lot of bigger conventions, and I've been to ones at the Wyndham that have a lot of panels, like Across, and Toy and Comic the previous year had a lot of panels. And, which they had about 5 for both days, I think. Yeah, about 5. So that's good, and also variety of what the panels are about is also a huge thing that goes into it. Another thing is location, which in location, one reason that downtown conventions do get a lower score in that is location is also parking. But there are food places. If you don't have a car, sucks for you, you have to walk. But there are food places in. But location, like, one year with Toy and Comic and for Across, they had a ramen place, and they had really good food. Like, they had their people cook, and they have a restaurant in there, which is good, because there's nothing around there to eat. Like, you can't walk to, like, White Castle or something. But with downtown, like, the Wyndham has really good parking, but downtown, no. That's why downtown conventions usually lose a few points. But then there's also advertisement, what advertisement I've seen, what advertisement they do afterwards, the photographers and their indifference, like, not just taking pictures of girls in bikinis, which seems like is a lot better than some of the conventions. That goes into it. Cosplay contests, if there's a prejudging, how many cosplayers there are. I was there most of Comic-Con, and I was there all of Toy and Comic except for the first hour in the morning on Sunday. I was there the whole time we were there from 10 till after closing, and we were there from we got there at like 10 o'clock the day before, and after closing we're there. So we were there for a good amount of time. I just didn't see as many cosplayers as I thought there would, which cosplaying also goes into a small percentage of time. The convention's been around. Niceness of the staff goes into it. There's a lot more too. There's just like dynamic setup of the hallways. Traffic flow was an issue with Toy and Comic, and it's with every convention, but like the weird metal things in the hallway and the lamps were kind of inconvenient for traffic flow. The metal shelving, which could be a fire hazard issue, but and then price, Toy and Comic was really good. Comic-Con was kind of pretty expensive. Gen Con's really expensive. But then also, like, with food, another thing with setup is, like, EvaCon had food trucks. You have food trucks, and they will come. And the guy was giving people discounts and stuff, and it was awesome. And they had free admission to their pool if you paid for your ticket, which I didn't know. I would have totally loved. This was before I was doing con reviews. Still have a little bit of con flu, but it was amazing. Like, you got so much amenities with it in the hotel. I like the Wyndham, but like with EvaCon, why it would have scored so much the year I went is the hotel is just gorgeous. Oh my god, gorgeous! Like, I want to live here. And the con layout was a lot different, and just dynamics like that, like table setup and display angles, where things are near doors and exits is also something that goes into a small, tiny percentile of what I had. One thing I really didn't like about Toy and Comic is usually in that room, like at A-Cross, there's a door here, like it's this rectangle. See the rectangle. Do I have something that's rectangular? This box lid. It's rectangular. There's a door that's down. Okay, so there's a door that's here, and then there's a door where this hole is. This door was open, but this door wasn't, and they had a table in front of it. I wish that they had opened the other door too, because usually they have an exit door and an entrance door. That would have helped traffic flow a million times better, and that would it wouldn't be so hot. That was another reason why it didn't get a 4, was because they had the air on. I didn't believe they had the air on. It was so hot and setting up. Even like weather has a slight percentage to do with it. Like, I've gone to Gen Con and Comic Con where the air conditioning has broken down before. And when it comes to airflow and safety measures, blocking doors that kind of gives it a point, like a half a point down when it has to do with display. But people are like, oh, that's petty, but it's really not, because Comic-Con has had, because, in the convention center, they have walls that drop down, if you had classrooms, and they open up. So, that also becomes a big point of it. And I think that would have made it less hot, because it was unbearable, and if you're in cosplay, and you're that hot, because it was a really hot day, fans are a suggestion. I know they have fans at the hotel, which I love the Wyndham. I loved A-Cross. A-Cross was effing great, but it didn't, Toy and Comic didn't, it wasn't like, go to this now, get in your car, mark this on the calendar, and go. So that's why it's a 3.5. It was maybe rendering towards a 4, because I feel bad giving a 3.5, which I shouldn't. It's a reasonable thing. I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun mending. And I shouldn't have to defend myself, But there's a lot of things like that go into it. And guests are even it. I wish they would have gotten some local YouTubers. They had some cool cosplayer people there that were professional cosplayers, but there's YouTubers or something that they could have brought in. GameStop was there. Another huge thing is the promoters. I would have given it a 4 if I really wanted to buy their stuff. I was so mad that they weren't there. Prism wasn't there, which, if you're an art student, you live at Prism. They didn't have a table. GameStop had an awesome game room. Totally fun. Prism did not have a table. There was a storage company that sold stuff for conventions. They didn't have a table. I was like, but I want to buy your stackable square things. I really wanted to buy that. And that was one of the things that, even if they all, took 2 tables and, Prism had a little section on the table, or like you could put the stackable things in the background and put the stuff that Prism donates. Like even if it's just those little sushi erasers or some paper or like flyers about Prism, because I know there's not a lot of Prisms, you could put them on the stackable things and sell the stackable things. But yeah, sponsors, because I know there will be a lot of sponsors, and the ticket price is a huge thing too. But there's just a lot of things that go into it, and that's something I wanted to explain to you guys, because I know you're kind of like, oh, this is going on forever. But when I sit back and I think about a con, and con loot is also a thing, like what people can afford to buy. I sit back and I think about a convention. I usually go on a $40 budget because I go to a good amount of conventions, but I work my ass off and I save. Like, I will do things around the house. I will collect change to go to a convention, but I usually take $40 in case there's something I really want. Going to enough conventions, you learn how to rank things, and there's a lot of things that go into it. It's not just, oh, the convention hall was fine. It's, was the convention hall clean? Which it was at Comic-Con and Toy and Comic. How were the people there? How were the guests? Were they rude? Were they nice? How was, the cosplay contest selection? How were things professionally, sit down, like even for, I know that the people tried the best for the cosplay contest, but somebody had an iPod dock that they could have used to help out the contest people. News coverage, there's a lot that goes into it. So I don't want you guys to think, oh, she's just pulling numbers out of her ass, or oh, she doesn't know anything. There's a lot that goes into it, and there's a lot that's behind the scenes that you don't necessarily have to know. It's just observing. So when I do my PopCon review, which hopefully it's amazing again, or, like next year when I do my A-Cross, or when I do my Gen Con review, you guys kind of understand where I'm coming from. And sometimes, like, that's the one thing about the ones at the mall. There's food, there's shopping, there's other things to do when there's lulls in the convention. The Wyndham is great. You find there's plenty of places to sit down. You can play Cards Against Humanity. But there's a lot that goes into it. And it's not just, oh, I like this convention. Oh, I like this convention. I'm blindly running into this situation with no damn clue what I'm saying. No. And I would not give a con a bad review unless it honestly was really horrible. And even if I was sick and like had personal shit that happened, I wouldn't give the con a review. This has nothing to do with individual personal experiences. There's a bit of that, but it's not like this is just based on, oh, I met a lot of people and had a lot of fun necessarily. This also has to do with dynamics of the convention. I mean, that plays into it, but the dynamic construction of the convention and of Thai conventions. And I hope to go a lot more cons, and I've been doing this for a long time. And like with Comic-Con, I went 3 days. I went both days to this. I went, some conventions I've gone to are A-Cross. I go to A-Cross. I try to go the whole time. So I kind of have an idea what I'm talking about. And I hope you guys respect me for that. And I hope this kind of explains. So on the ladder of conventions, you want a 3 to a 4. To a 5. If you're in there, it's a good, fun, absolutely wonderful convention. And so don't worry about that. And it means I want to go again. I would probably still go to a sucky con unless something really, really bad happened. Like somebody got shot or raped or something horrible. I would probably still go to see if it's improved. And this is nothing against the cons that I do go back to. It's just saying that, this is an event, and it has to do with event planning, and it has to do with a million other things. So I hope that you guys enjoyed. I know this is really, really long. But hope you understand where I'm coming from, and that you see I'm just not making stuff up. And I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope that you like this video and you like my channel and you understand where I'm coming from. And yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed.